The C8 Corvette ZR1 was spotted on the Nürburgring today in its most exposed form yet. Hey, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the vlog. Hope everyone is having a fantastic day. We are back with some exciting C8 Corvette ZR1 updates from the Nürburgring. And as usual, with a quick and happy intro, if you are stopping by for the first time and you love Corvettes, definitely consider hitting the subscribe button for regular updates around Corvette as well as my journey through a lot of different vehicles. I would appreciate the support. It's free, it doesn't cost anything, but it makes this platform a little bit bigger, so YouTube intrinsically promotes it a little bit more. And so without wasting any more time, let's dive right into today's video. Motor 1 got their hands on some spy shots from the Nürburgring, and I wanted to take some time to scroll through the article with everybody and react to some of the observations and some of the things that we see with this exposed C8 ZR1. So starting right off from the beginning, you guys can see the C8 ZR1 in the open. There's a bunch of visual aesthetic changes to the car. We can start by seeing a massive high wing. I think this is probably the biggest component to this C8 ZR1 sighting, and this is probably the ZTK wing. We've seen on the C7 ZR1 they had the ZTK package, which had the bigger wing and the aggressive arrow, and through some of these pictures you'll see that the standard Z06 wing is also available, which is likely the standard wing on the C8 ZR1. Again, that is speculative, so we have to take that with a grain of salt. This is all just kind of leaked information that we are piecing together. Additional things that we can note is this looks like almost a McLaren 675 LT styled hood, functional inlets. I'd be curious to know if we have front storage, if these route straight down and back and eliminate front storage. Since this is a track focused weapon, how much of the functionality is really being reduced here is a big question that we're going to have as this vehicle gets introduced sometime next year. Scrolling through the article, taking a look at some more pictures, the front end really kind of shows off a very aggressive front end. You see more opening in the center here where we have more inlets, I'm imagining for more air being fed to the ZR1 with the more power that it produces. Opening up some of these pictures and scrolling through, I think the biggest observations to be made is there are two air inlets added to the rear hatch on both sides that's going to allow additional air to go through. There's been rumors about a twin turbo platform. There's also been rumors about an electric hybrid platform that shares some of the components from the E-Ray made it to the Z06. So we don't have confirmation on what the exact drivetrain for the ZR1 is going to be, but it's interesting to see that they have two additional air inlets, maybe feeding some turbos behind those hatches. Looking at the side shot, we can see there's two additional vents added to the side of the fenders, kind of where the hash is on the side of the door panel. They have two inlets. This is likely for, I imagine, either brake cooling or more downforce, since this is a car that's going to be very powerful and quick on the line. Downforce is going to be huge. The big wing is indicative of them trying to engineer as much downforce as they can to this car, so putting air through the fender to pull it down and hold it down is a good addition to the car's performance. Going through some of these pictures and reacting to the rims, this is probably the most exposed version of the C8 ZR1 wheels that we're seeing. A very intricate multi-spoke design. I have to say I'm kind of a fan of these wheels. The C8 Stingray, when it launched, had some very ugly wheel options. I think the E-Ray has some very ugly wheel options, but the Z06 was finally offering some good wheel options, and I'm glad to see that the ZR1 is continuing that trend of really aggressive and cool looking wheels. The side angle also gives us a good look at this front hood. Very cool to see the inlets as functional for the C8 ZR1. It just makes the car look very aggressive, very bold, very pronounced, and I'm really excited about the C8 ZR1 hitting the market. Coming around the back, you get a better look at the wing. It is a two-post design, mounts to the rear bumper, I imagine to the chassis as well to provide maximum downforce. Very aggressive, very bold look. But otherwise the rear looks very similar to the current Z06 layout with the center exit exhaust. We can also see from the spy shots the same aggressive hood, the same C8 ZR1 prototype wheels, and the inlets on the side of the fenders with a standard Z06 wing, which I am going to assume the base ZR1 is going to come with, like the C7 ZR1 did, where it had a base wing which was lower and then a more aggressive ZTK track package wing that was much more aggressive. And so I think the idea here is that this is the two versions of the C8 ZR1 that we're going to get. Kind of like how the C8 Stingray has the base Stingray and then the Z51 package, and the Z06 has the base Z06 and the Z07 package. We are likely seeing the base ZR1 with the ZR1 ZTK package, assuming the naming conventions carry from the C7 generation. But again, we can see more sensors in the front area as well as an opening in the center where the license plate for the C8 Z06 goes. It looks like at least this prototype version has more aero, or rather air channels in the front bumper. Going through the article also outlines that the Nürburgring prototype said Michelin Pilot Sport tires on all four corners. Really good tire choice for the C8 ZR1. And so really cool to see all of this information becoming available. I think the C8 ZR1 is supposed to hit the market as a 2025 model year, and now that they're starting to expose more of this car during their testing and on the Nürburgring, we saw with the Z06 that the official unveiling was a few months out from when we saw it on the Nürburgring, so I think General Motors and Chevrolet are getting very close to officially announcing and launching this vehicle sometime, I would imagine, in the spring of next year. And then we'll likely see it towards the end of 2024 like we've seen with the Z06 and the E-Ray coming around Q4. What it has for a power plant is really anyone's guess. We've seen audio clips of the car that's been very silent, so maybe it's got hybrid tech. We've seen audio clips of the car that's kind of slightly tinged at turbo sounds. Really hard to tell out because these prototype cars are very muffled. But nonetheless, we have access to more information today to be more excited about the upcoming variant of the C8 Corvette. Huge thanks to Motor One for making this content available to the car community. I will link the article in the description below for the full breakdown of all the pictures that they got. I just went through some of it and reacted to my initial impressions, but they have a ton of more pictures that you can zoom in on, get up close to, and see more angles of the C8 ZR1. So definitely check out the description below and check out their article link down there. And so to sum it up, I am super excited to see the C8 ZR1 getting closer and closer to production. Since I couldn't really manage to get a Z06, General Motors picked their winners and losers on YouTube, most of whom have sold and flipped the C8 Z06, so basically setting the precedent of flipping cars. I think the C8 ZR1 is the long-term keeper. I would love to own that as my go-to car to all the car events, to the runway events that I shared on the channel recently, so I'm very excited to see this car. I will likely camp out however long I have to try to get my hands on this car and make sure that I go with a reputable dealer. So that's all I have for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Definitely stay tuned for more updates around this car and all other Corvette vehicles coming in the pipeline. I will try to share that information in the quickest possible format that I can, so definitely go ahead and stay tuned. And as always, until the very next video, I look forward to seeing all of you in the comment section below.